Learning to use the Snap tool in Cubase will make all of your editing much easier. Load up the example project, Snap. Snap means to lock to some sort of position or time. See when I move this audio event, it's snapping to the bars in Cubase? In most cases, you'll be using bars and beats as your snapping position. Make sure you can see all of the snapping options by choosing not to view some of these. This is where you turn the snap button on and off. The key command is J. The great thing about Snap is that Cubase remembers what grid type you chose. For example, if we have bars and beats selected by right-clicking on the ruler, you can choose beat as your grid type. Now move the audio event around. It's snapping to quarter note beats. You can choose other formats such as timecode or samples. So if we choose timecode, we can snap by changing our grid type to, let's say, every quarter frame. If we go back to bars and beats, beat is still selected. Not bad. Now that you know what bar and beat is, let's try and use quantize. If you want to snap to more than just bars and quarter notes, then you can pick the time division of your choice by selecting it under the Quantize Type drop-down menu. Let's choose eighth notes. Now let's try 16th notes. You should find everything you need in this list, but if you're trying to quantize match with audio or to a custom quantize, you can choose Setup. We'll talk about this in more detail in the Advanced Quantize chapter in Level 3 of this tutorial series. The button to the right of the Snap On-Off button is the Snap type. This is where you can select whether or not you are snapping to a grid, which we've just looked at, or you can choose Grid Relative, which means it will snap to the grid type. To bars, for example, but it may not snap to the bars in Cubase. It will be relative to whatever position it was on. I'll explain this in more detail. Most times an audio event will start on the bar, and so when we move the event, it snaps to the next bar. Let's turn Snap off and then move this forward a little bit. Sometimes we need to bump the audio left or right to make it sound more on time. Turn Snap back on and choose Grid Relative. If for some reason we needed to move the event a bar forward or back, it's now snapping relative to the bars. Choosing Events allows you to snap to the other audio, MIDI, and video events. If I make a few cuts, we can see it snap to the events. Shuffle allows you to move events that are adjacent to each other by switching places with them. Shuffle is also good for inserting an event between other events. Magnetic Cursor causes the event that is being moved to snap to the project cursor. The other three are just combinations of the previous snap modes. Events, Grid, and Cursor combines almost all of them and is a good one to leave selected. Don't forget that the key command for Snap is J. If you'll be doing a lot of editing, you'll need to remember this. And that's it for Snap.